Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located. Thank you all so much for joining Amtrak Vacations as we feature part one of our National Park Series, otherwise known as the beautiful Grand Canyon. And I'm really excited about today's presentation. Once again, we have over 1,000 people joining us throughout the day and evening to hear more about this exciting wonder of the world. And here's a little snapshot of just the pure beauty that you get a chance to see taking advantage of traveling with Amtrak Vacations. So for those of you that are joining myself again, let me first and foremost say thank you. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Jim Marini, and I will be your host today. And we actually have a special guest speaker today. I'm really excited to introduce this person in just a little bit, so stay tuned. I also want to mention, as always, for those of you that have attended, or certainly for your first time, we always give away a $100 Amtrak Vacations gift card at the end of the presentation. So stay tuned, everybody, to see if you are that lucky person. I also want to mention that as a way of saying thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time to attend today's presentation, we will be announcing a special booking incentive at the end, a special offer for you, your friends, and family. So stay tuned to hear more about that. Also, I want to encourage all of you, if you haven't had a chance, please feel free to write down our 1-800 number to book any of these exciting packages that our featured guest speaker will go over today. That number is 1-800-268-7252, or you can certainly book any of these exciting rail vacations throughout the Grand Canyon with your local travel agent. So either way is the right way. So with that in mind, everybody, again, thank you for your time, and let's begin today's presentation. So for those of you that have not had a chance to travel on Amtrak, or you certainly have, I always love showing this map just to show the vast amount of places that Amtrak actually travels to throughout the United States. Interestingly enough, Amtrak actually travels to 46 out of the 48 continuous states in the United States, with the exception of South Dakota and Wyoming. And some fun, interesting information I always love sharing with everyone is last year alone, just last year, 31.2 million people traveled on Amtrak. And all of our travelers came from all over the world, just like all of you here today on today's presentation. Now, interestingly enough, having come from all over the world, something interesting I always love to share is you actually have the option to also fly round trip if you choose, to and or from the starting and or ending point on your vacation. Or you can certainly choose between the 500 different Amtrak stations available throughout the United States to start and or end your trip. Okay, so again, lots of flexibility. You get to decide how you want to travel to and or from the beautiful Grand Canyon. So why Amtrak Vacations, everybody? Before I introduce today's featured guest speaker, I always love to just give a little overview, and hopefully some of these reasons are the same reasons that a lot of you are also interested in traveling to this beautiful year-round national park, otherwise known as the Grand Canyon. It is a bucket list experience, traveling, of course, not only to the Grand Canyon, but traveling on Amtrak throughout the United States truly is a bucket list experience, a wish list experience. Also, room to roam. We want you to get up, walk around, stretch your legs, enjoy the whole experience to and from the destination on Amtrak. Also, less hassle. The beauty of traveling with Amtrak Vacations, everyone, everything now is electronic. So e-ticketing, e-documents. Again, we here, any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agent can help you with those arrangements. City-to-city service. I always love mentioning this because many of our beautiful cities and destinations throughout the United States, there truly is not a better way and a more scenic way to get to and or from there than on Amtrak. Satisfy your hunger. For any of you that are looking to travel overnight on the train, everyone, here's a great highlight, which our guest speaker is going to share more about today. If you are in any of our sleepers, whether it's a roomette or a bedroom, all of your meals are included on that particular portion of your overnight journey. We also have a private chef on board the train as well. So take advantage of it. And certainly if you're in coach seating, just know that the dining car is available, the snack car. You will have plenty of options to have some great snacks and meals throughout the whole journey. And also flexibility. As I mentioned, Grand Canyon is a year-round national park. So from January through December, certainly for those of us that might be located in areas throughout the world or here in the United States where it can get a little bit cooler and snowy during certain times of the year, well, here's a nice opportunity for you to escape the cold weather and travel to the beautiful Grand Canyon. So before I introduce today's featured guest speaker, everybody, something exciting I wanted to share with you. As I mentioned, today is part one of our three-part National Park series. Today we're featuring the Grand Canyon. Our next presentation in a couple of weeks will feature Glacier National Park, followed by Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Rocky Mountains. But something I'm excited to share with all of you is Amtrak Vacations is actually teamed up with the National Park Foundation, which is the official charity of the U.S. National Parks. And any of you that book any of these exciting trips that our guest speaker goes over today, or certainly any of our national parks, a portion of the proceeds, everybody, will be going back to the National Park Foundation. And here's the best part, everyone. It's at no additional charge to each and every one of you. It doesn't cost you a penny extra when you book any of these exciting national park packages with Amtrak Vacations or certainly through your local travel agent. So anyway, wanted to share some exciting news with you. And of course, this year is the centennial year, so there truly is not a better time to travel to the beautiful national parks. So everybody, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our featured guest speaker today, someone who's very familiar not only with the national parks, but in particular the Grand Canyon, and that is Colleen McCarthy, who is our operations manager. So take it over, Colleen.
Thank you so much, Jim, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody listening in today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Amtrak Vacations as we highlight one of my favorite national parks, the Grand Canyon. Just so you folks know, I just returned from a Grand Canyon trip just a month or two ago, so very fresh in my mind, and I'm happy to be able to share with you the amazing scenery, the amazing accommodations, and the amazing train trip. So without further ado, let's look at the Grand Canyon. As you folks probably know, it is considered by many to be one of the natural wonders of the world. The Grand Canyon, little fun fact, is 277 miles long. At its widest point, it is up to 18 miles wide, and at its steepest point, it is over 1 mile deep. So it's pretty spectacular scenery there. It was established as a national park in 1919, and it has over 5 million visitors every year. Now, Amtrak, in my unbiased opinion, is probably one of the very best ways that you folks can choose to visit the Grand Canyon. You'd be traveling on the Southwest Chief, which is one of Amtrak's most famous train routes. It does depart daily from Chicago and Los Angeles, stopping in Arizona for you folks to visit the Grand Canyon along its route. Now, whether you folks are traveling from the east or from the west, from LA or from Chicago or points in between, the gateway to the Grand Canyon on most of our trips here is going to be Williams, Arizona. Now, Williams, Arizona is such a fun town. It's located on historic Route 66. So for those of you that are familiar, there's lots of memorabilia. There's some great places to eat and some of the nicest people that you folks are going to meet anywhere. Can't say enough about Williams. I love Williams. There's so much to see and do there, and it's the perfect gateway to the Grand Canyon. Now, whether you folks are coming in from the east or from the west, we want to make things easy for you. So when you disembark your Amtrak train, we're going to have a shuttle waiting for you right there at Williams Junction to pick you up and bring you to the front doorstep of your hotel. So we have you guys staying there in Williams at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel, which is a fabulous property there. They've got beautiful accommodations, super comfortable, and again, very easy for you. Like I said, we're going to pick you up at the train station for most of our packages and bring you right there to the front door of the hotel. If you're coming in from the East Coast, you folks are going to arrive in the evening so you can settle in for a good night's rest. And if you're coming from the West Coast, you're going to arrive in the morning so you'll be ready to start your day. Either way, We're going to have you start out your day there in Williams at the Grand Depot Cafe, which is located right at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel. So again, super easy for you. Just walk down the hallway to your restaurant. And most of our packages there do include breakfast for you. So great value there. The breakfast buffet is enormous. I can tell you from personal experience, they have just about everything you folks would want to eat, including my personal favorite, the make your own omelet station, where you can design your own breakfast omelet. And then there's a whole toppings bar as well. So again, with all of our packages here for the Grand Canyon, we do include breakfast for you at the Grand Depot Cafe, which is a great way to start your day. And then following breakfast, we encourage you to head out to the Wild West Shootout. So for those of you who have not had the opportunity to take this trip before, I can tell you this is a really neat way to start your day. After breakfast, everybody goes out to the arena there, which is again located right at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel. So just a few steps down from breakfast. And you folks will encounter the Cataract Creek Gang, who every morning seems to have an encounter with the marshal. They square off there at Williams Depot, which is a lot of fun, especially anybody traveling with kids or anyone who's a kid at heart. I can tell you myself, I enjoyed this very much. They've got a great little show for you guys to get you started and get you excited about taking the Grand Canyon Railway train up to the South Rim. Following your exciting shootout, you folks will board the Grand Canyon Railway train. You'll hear that all aboard from the conductor and make your way over to the train there. Now, the Grand Canyon Railway train is an institution in Williams, Arizona, and indeed for the Grand Canyon itself. The very first Grand Canyon Railway train left Williams in 1901, everyone. So it's been taking folks to and from the canyon for well over 100 years here. And it's a beautiful and extremely scenic way to travel. Now, you folks are going to board the Grand Canyon Railway train, and we have a lot of different classes of service for you to choose from, and any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agents will be happy to go over those details with you. Lots of different areas on the train for you to choose from and to visit. And I would say this is absolutely one of the best ways to visit the Grand Canyon because you can sit and you can relax and you can talk to your friends or to your family, and you don't have to worry about doing the driving. This is sort of one of our themes here with Amtrak Vacations, you know, the easiness of this trip and just the way you can relax and really enjoy it. Now, on the Grand Canyon Railway train, you can see there we've got some musicians wandering the train, starting some rousing sing-alongs. This trip actually is really scenic. It takes you through the Ponderosa Pine Forest and then out to the wide prairies before going back into some more forest area right up before you get to the Grand Canyon itself. And do be careful because that Cataract Creek Gang is up to their shenanigans, and they do occasionally attempt to rob your train there, which is, again, a lot of fun, especially if you're traveling with any younger kids or kids at heart. Now, the Grand Canyon Railway train is also fantastic because it's going to bring you folks right up to the South Rim itself. Again, you leave from your doorstep there at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel, and it's going to bring you directly to the South Rim of the canyon. So very easy for you. Now, once you arrive in the Grand Canyon, there is so much to see and to do. Again, keeping with our theme of making it easy, most of our packages when you arrive at the Grand Canyon do include a fantastic tour, which is going to pick you up right from the depot, right from the train station. You folks are literally going to cross the tracks, and the tour is going to be waiting right there for you, and it's going to take you out to some amazing, amazing overlooks where you can get out and take pictures. The guides are fantastic. They will tell you all about how the canyon was formed, the significance to the native peoples who've lived there for thousands of years. And again, you do get some amazing picture opportunities on that tour. Now that tour is going to be about an hour and a half long, and then it's going to drop you off at your hotel. Again, perfect. And some versions of our packages do include lunch there at the hotel for you, which is, again, a nice feature. Now, the Maswik Lodge, I'm going to say, is the hotel that most of our guests choose to stay in while they're at the canyon. The Maswik Lodge is fantastic. That's where I stayed. I can tell you that. It's only a quarter mile from the rim itself, so it's a super easy stroll right up to the rim to do some sightseeing and to take some more pictures and, you know, to just soak in that amazing, amazing view. Maswik Lodge is great because they've got some really nice secluded lodges for you, very spacious rooms, especially for a National Park Lodge. And if you guys are lucky, you might have the same experience I had, which is in the morning, drinking my morning coffee on my little patio, a whole herd of deer came by, and they were just so relaxed and so calm, and you got to drink our coffee and watch the wildlife go by, which was amazing. So I can't say enough about the Maswik Lodge. It's really spectacular. But if you folks are looking for something a little closer to the rim, we do also have some fantastic accommodations there at the Grand Canyon, which are located right up on the rim itself. So the first of these I'm going to go over is the Thunderbird Lodge. Thunderbird Lodge would be a great choice for you. They do have canyon-side rooms, also rooms that are going to face the Grand Canyon, everybody. But they do go fast. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely make sure you let us know as soon as possible. Thunderbird's a great choice for you guys there. And then the granddaddy of all Grand Canyon lodges is probably the El Tovar Lodge. The El Tovar is absolutely our most, probably our most famous lodge at the canyon itself. It actually opened its doors in 1905, so it's been, again, servicing guests for well over 100 years. They've definitely had some famous guests stay there. Former President Teddy Roosevelt, if anyone's heard of him, Paul McCartney more recently, and quite a few other folks have stayed up there at the Grand Canyon at El Tovar Lodge. El Tovar Lodge is beautiful, beautiful historic hotel. It's right on the Register of Historic Places, and again, right there at the edge of the canyon. So if you folks are planning on visiting the canyon and staying overnight, definitely recommend El Tovar. And even if you're not going to stay at El Tovar, I definitely recommend checking out their dining room. Now, reservations can be a little hard to come by, so you're going to want to make those early. But they have an amazing dining room. I can personally vouch for the steak, as you see the picture there. It was pretty fantastic, and the service can't be beat. Neither can the view. So on a sunny day, you can actually, eat at the dining room and overlook the canyon. You can see the picture there. They've also got a patio out on back of the lodge as well. So El Tovar is, definitely a great choice for you guys. And again, that does book up very quickly. So if you folks are interested in that, definitely give us a call or call your local travel agent. We can make those arrangements for you. Now, Amtrak, again, in my unbiased opinion, is one of the very best ways to visit the Grand Canyon National Park. And we have amazing trips here at Amtrak Vacations, whether you have just a few days or whether you have a few weeks that you're looking to travel. We have a Grand Canyon trip that really is going to work for you. We have a wide variety of different products here at Amtrak Vacations. We have independent journeys, which are multiple city trips where you stop at many cities and you take the train in between, and we set up the sightseeing, we set up the hotel accommodations, we set up the train travel, maybe some meals for you. We definitely have shorter trips as well if you're looking for something just for a weekend. We've got some great getaways where, again, we'd set up the train and your sightseeing. And then we've also got some really nice family adventure packages this year, which are focused, again, any of you folks who are considering traveling as a family. We've got some great packages which are geared more towards a family experience this year. So really excited about all of those. And especially excited here about probably one of our absolute most popular and one of my favorite trips that we sell to the Grand Canyon here is the Grand Canyon Discovery. Now this trip, folks, really does it all. You can see here on my map that it starts in Chicago, heads out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Then we stop in Williams. We go up to the Grand Canyon, and then we end in Flagstaff with a day tour out to Sedona. So this trip here is a 10-day trip, and it really does everything because you get to see Chicago. You get to do an overnight trip on board the train, which is an experience in itself, which, believe me, I'll talk about in a little bit here. You get to see Santa Fe, New Mexico. You do the Grand Canyon and Williams like we just looked at, and then on to Flagstaff and out to Sedona for a Jeep tour, which is pretty excellent, I can tell you. Chicago, of course, being one of Amtrak's main hubs and absolutely one of our most fantastic cities in the U.S. If you guys haven't been there, I definitely recommend it. So much to see and do, and of course, can't say enough about the deep dish pizza. And really another great feature of this Grand Canyon Discovery trip is that it includes Flagstaff, Arizona, everybody. So, of course, we've just now looked at Williams and the Grand Canyon. Now, Flagstaff is also on historic Route 66. So Route 66 used to travel right through Flagstaff. And they've got a lot of really neat dining options for you, a lot of really neat little shopping options. and a lot of fun activities available from Flagstaff. I really enjoyed. I stayed there as well on my most recent trip and enjoyed it very much. Of course, if you folks don't quite have 10 days to travel, or you're maybe not interested in starting in Chicago, we've got a little bit shorter version of this trip, the Grand Canyon Explorer, which is probably our second best-selling trip here for the Grand Canyon. Now, this one gives you a little bit more time in New Mexico, which is nice. It actually starts out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then goes on to Santa Fe, and again, Flagstaff, Williams, the Grand Canyon, and Sedona. So Grand Canyon Explorer is a great choice if you've got just a little bit shorter time frame, and if you want to start out maybe a little closer to New Mexico. Now, I know Jim mentioned at the beginning, a lot of our passengers actually do choose to fly to or from their destination. So certainly we could get you the train to Albuquerque to start out, but you could also fly to Albuquerque and then fly home at the end from Flagstaff. Of course, we could get you the train from Flagstaff wherever else you want to go. It's very flexible here. We can do a lot of different things for you and make your trip fit for you, which is one of the great features. Now, with that Grand Canyon Explorer package, of course, we do include a really excellent walking tour of Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you folks have not been to Santa Fe, I highly recommend it. Santa Fe is a really beautiful, really charming little town. They've got some amazing culture. You know, they've got some fantastic history, and I can't say enough about the cuisine. They've got cuisine for everybody. They've actually got a chocolate trail in Santa Fe. I don't know if anyone knows that. And they've got some really excellent food and some really excellent museums as well. This here is the New Mexico Museum of Art on my slide here, which has some really beautiful paintings by Georgia O'Keeffe, um, as well as, you know, so many different cultural activities and different things for you to do. We include a walking tour, which will hit all the major highlights of Santa Fe. Now, for anybody listening in from the West Coast, this is actually the trip that I just did, or similar to it. This is our Rails to the Grand Canyon package. Now, previously, we've been looking at trips that sort of focus out of Chicago, but for anybody who lives on our West Coast, we definitely have a trip for you guys as well. Now, this Rails to the Grand Canyon package here begins in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. Dreaming of that today here in New England, where I think it's about 27 degrees outside if we're lucky. So this trip here starts in Los Angeles and then heads out to Williams and up to the Grand Canyon. Now, coming from Los Angeles, everyone, you folks will be starting out on the Southwest Chief in the evening from beautiful Union Station in Los Angeles. And you folks will have a fantastic dinner that evening before arriving to the canyon the next morning. So you folks will roll into Williams pretty early in the morning there, and then take that Grand Canyon Railway Steamliner train up to the South Rim itself. This is a fantastic package here because it does include 2 nights at the canyon, as well as some time there in Los Angeles, which if you've never been is really fun, really exciting city to visit as well. And 2 nights at the Grand Canyon, everyone, does give you that opportunity to spend a little more time up there and to do a little more sightseeing on your own. So they've got some really beautiful hiking trails. They've got, you know, a lot of different little shops and lodges and areas to visit up there. A lot of history and, of course, you know, phenomenal scenery there at the canyon itself. And 2 nights in this package does give you an opportunity to really experience everything that the Grand Canyon has to offer. This one here, Grand Canyon and Sedona Experience, is coming up next. This is one of my favorite trips that we offer. Sedona, I cannot say enough about. Sedona, Arizona is beautiful for anyone who hasn't been there. It's absolutely beautiful, located pretty close to Flagstaff. And this trip really does sort of the best of both worlds. It's a much shorter trip for you guys, anybody looking for more of a weekend getaway. It includes 3 nights hotel accommodations. You folks will do the pink Jeep tour out to Grand Canyon National Park in the South Rim, and so much more. So for anybody who hasn't had a chance to do a Jeep tour in Sedona, it's one of my very favorite experiences. That little picture of me at the beginning of our presentation was taken in Sedona, actually, on our Jeep tour. It's really neat. You can go totally depending on your preference. They've got off-roading tours where you're going to do rock climbing in the Jeeps, or they've got a little more easygoing tours where you can just cruise. But either way, you're going to see some absolutely beautiful, completely stunning scenery there in Sedona. One of my very favorite places in the U.S., I have to say. Here's another shot of the beautiful red rock formations there. Now, I didn't mention this before, but for anybody who is traveling to Sedona or to the Grand Canyon, definitely highly recommend getting up early and trying to check out that sunrise there. And again, as well, checking out the sunset, especially at the canyon. If you folks are up there, I definitely recommend maybe getting dinner at El Tovar and checking out the sunset on the canyon itself. It's spectacular. Where does Amtrak go? So we've seen that Amtrak goes all over the U.S. If you look here at our map, you can see the Southwest Chief route there, connecting Chicago to Los Angeles and stopping in the Grand Canyon along the way. As we've seen, it also stops in New Mexico, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Flagstaff. There's a lot of different options for you. Now, I've highlighted some of our most popular trips, the Discovery, the Explorer, Rails to the Canyon, but whatever you guys are looking for, we have a trip that's going to work for you. Whatever your time frame is, whatever your budget is, give us a call or call your local travel agent and let us know, and I can guarantee you we've got something that's going to fit what you need. I've only got a few minutes here, so I don't have time to highlight every trip we have, but absolutely check us out and we can make something work for you. As we talked about before, you can either start by taking the train. So you can take your train. We're just north of Boston here. So I could take the train from Boston out to Chicago to start that trip, or I could fly out to Chicago to start that trip for the Grand Canyon Discovery. And same thing at the end. You can either take the train back home at the end, or you can take it on to Los Angeles at the end and check out our beautiful California coast. Whatever you folks are looking for, we can definitely make work for you. Now let's look at the train, everybody. So the train itself is part of the experience. Of course, we're here at Amtrak Vacations, so I've got to talk about the train. And I really want to talk about the train because the destination itself is amazing, but the train ride is part of your trip, and it's a big part of your trip. The experience of riding Amtrak throughout the countryside, you can really see, the beautiful scenery of America. If you folks are in a plane, you're going to see clouds. The clouds are going to look the same whether you're flying the Grand Canyon or flying just down to the coast there. But if you folks are taking an Amtrak train, it's really a truly, amazing experience. We've got some pictures here of the folks in the lounge car. So this is the Sightseer Lounge. Every Amtrak long-distance train will have one. You can see they've got floor-to-ceiling windows. They've got some big comfy chairs that face out at those windows, so you can really enjoy your experience here, seeing the scenery of America. Now, traveling on board Amtrak, we've got several different options for you. Now, whatever you're most comfortable with, we can get that set up for you. So first one we're going to look at here is the coach accommodations. Now, coach on Amtrak is not the same as coach on an airline. Coach on Amtrak is very comfortable. They've got loads of legroom. I'm a little bit short myself, I have to tell you, but I cannot actually kick the chair in front of me. There's that much legroom. Now, we've also got seats that recline back. So they do recline back about 45 degrees. You've got tray tables. You've got, air controls, lights. You've got an outlet at every seat. Anybody who's traveling with a laptop or a tablet, exciting to report, they have outlets at every seat there in coach accommodations on the long-distance trains as well. For anybody who might be doing an overnight train, maybe that Chicago to the Grand Canyon trip, we do also offer sleeper accommodations on board Amtrak. So we do have a couple different sleeper cabins for you to choose from. The first here is the Roomette. As you can see, it's 2 chairs that face each other during the day. You've got a little fold-out table. You can play some cards or set up your laptop. In the evening, these chairs are going to fold down into bunk beds for you to sleep. And then the facilities, the restrooms and showers are just down the hall there with the Roomette accommodations. Now, with these Roomette accommodations, all of your meals on board the train, everybody, are included for you. So if you board that train in the evening in Los Angeles, you're going to get an amazing dinner. If you board it in the afternoon in Chicago, you're going to get lunch, you're going to get dinner, and you're going to get breakfast the next day. So again, all meals are included, whether you get a roomette or whether you get the bedroom accommodations on the train. Now, if you want a little bit more space, you're looking for something a little bit more comfortable, the bedroom accommodations on board Amtrak are the most deluxe accommodations that they do offer. During the day, it's sort of like a little love seat with a chair facing it. Again, you've got the great big picture window, so everybody can look out at the amazing scenery. In the evening, it again folds down into bunk beds, but with the bedroom accommodations, you do have your own private toilet shower stall. So that's a great feature, everyone. You do have your own private facilities with this bedroom accommodation. And again, all of your meals on board the train are included. So you can see a few shots here of the evening time on the train, a couple of our different rooms available there for you. Now, one of the best reasons to travel Amtrak is less hassle. I don't know if I've done a great job explaining this for you, but everything we try and do on all of these packages is make things easy for you. For the Grand Canyon, we're going to pick you up in Williams and bring you to the hotel. We're going to have that tour meet you at the canyon when you get off the Grand Canyon Railway train. We're going to pick you up at the train in the Grand Canyon and bring you down to your hotel in Flagstaff. Your Sedona tour is going to pick you up at your hotel in Flagstaff and bring you back to your hotel. So we try and make everything easy for you, and that continues over into your train trip as well. Like Jim mentioned before, we've got e-tickets. The dining car is just down the hall from your sleeping car. You know, you've got that lounge car as well. So we try and set everything up here so it's very easy, very comfortable vacation for you. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention the excellent food on board the Amtrak train. They're actually known for their food as well there. Every meal is prepared fresh on board the train. And depending on the time of day, you've got loads of different options on what you can choose from. So quite a few different breakfast, lunch, and dinner options for you. You can see here cheeseburger and my personal favorite, again, the steak. Now, for Amtrak, we do offer quite a few discounts, everybody. So we have discounts for folks who are veterans or in the military. We've got a AAA discount. And then, of course, we have some great discounts for you folks who are age 62 or older, or for anybody who's got a child there ages 2 to 12. They do receive a 50% on the rail portion of any Amtrak Vacations package. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jim, everyone. He's going to tell you a little bit more about our extra special offers that we've got for you just for you folks listening in today on our Grand Canyon webinar here.
Okay, thank you so much, Colleen. Isn't she amazing, everybody? I hope you enjoyed listening to her as much as I did. I think I was smiling the whole time. She really helps paint the picture. And some exciting news today, too, for those of you that are joining us either, again, for the first time or for second, third, fifth, 10th time. We've been doing these just about a year now. You'll notice we actually did put a little extra time aside, and certainly feel free to stay as long as you would like to. But we're going to allow a little more time for questions and answers, okay? So, and Colleen's here to help me with that. But really, how to book, what exciting packages are available. As Colleen and I have mentioned throughout the presentation, obviously, our vacation specialists, they're here, they're waiting, ready to help you and your friends and family with any of these arrangements. You can also visit us online, and that's www.Amtrak Vacations, all one word, amtrakvacations.com, or again, contact your local travel agent to learn more. If you do decide to go online, again, that's amtrakvacations.com. We actually have at least 15 different variations of the Grand Canyon that are already packaged. But as Colleen mentioned, again, we can customize your trip to make it as long or as short as you want and to try to hit that special price point that you're looking for as well. So lots and lots of flexibility. Speaking of flexibility too, everybody, we offer a great travel protection option as well as your local travel agent does as well. So you always have that flexibility to choose if you would like. Here at Amtrak Vacations, we have really, I think, one of the best and most flexible in the industry because it allows you to cancel for any reason right up until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, business day prior to departure, and you will get a full refund back minus the cost of the travel protection plan, which I will say on an average could be as minimal as $30 to $40 up to $70 to $100, depending on the length and the size of your trip. So again, ask any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agent to tell you more. So with that in mind, here is one of two exciting specials before we open it up to questions and answers. As our way, again, of saying thank you to each and every one of you for attending, we have an offer. So on, for instance, our Grand Canyon Discovery trip, which was the trip Colleen talked about, which starts in Chicago, travels overnight on the train out to Santa Fe before featuring the beautiful Grand Canyon. We are offering $200 off, everybody, per couple. Okay, so $100 per person. $200 off per couple if you book with a small deposit before the end of February. And that's February 26th, as you can see right there in the middle of the screen. However, for today, just for those of you that took the time to attend, our extra special offer today for you and your friends or family that you share the news with about any of our great, exciting Grand Canyon packages, our independent packages such as the Grand Canyon Discovery, we are offering an additional $100 off per couple total, additional $100 total, which would give you a $300 savings per couple, otherwise $150 per person, as long as you book with a small deposit before the end of this month, which would be January 29th. It's up in the top left-hand corner. So instead of it being $200 off per couple, everybody, it will actually be $300 off per couple, again, on select independent itineraries such as our Grand Canyon Discovery. Okay, and again, certainly any of our vacation consultants can let you know which Grand Canyon rail vacations that this special incentive applies to. All right, all you need to do is just refer to the promo code. So for those of you that know you definitely want to go, as Colleen mentioned, space does sell out. And interestingly enough, as I was listening to Colleen throughout the presentation, I can't tell you how many times people will want to go to the Grand Canyon or some of the beautiful national parks, but they'll wait until it's a little bit closer in, and unfortunately there's no space inside the lodges. So the beautiful part, everyone, as Colleen showed throughout the presentation, we can get space most of the time inside of the lodges, inside of the national parks, in particular the Grand Canyon. That is a big advantage. And I want to say they estimate about 5 million people visit the Grand Canyon every year. So on behalf of Amtrak Vacations, everybody, as well as Colleen and I, we want to sincerely thank you. I hope, again, you enjoyed the presentation. As promised, we do have a special winner to announce, and we're also going to open that up to questions and answer. We did good, Colleen, on time. So we have about a good 15 to 20 minutes left, and I see we've had a ton of questions come in. But before we do, as always, we have to announce the winner. And I think I say this all the time. I think I presentation, and that is I need a little drum roll before I announce who the winner is. So, roll for me, everyone. I don't know if you can hear that. All right. The winner of today's $100 gift card is Diana Dawson. Diana Dawson, congratulations. You are today's winner of our $100 Amtrak Vacations gift card. So with that in mind, everybody, we certainly invite you to stay on another 15 minutes or so if you'd like. We have a ton of questions, so Colleen and I are going to do our very best to hopefully answer all of these as we go through. So I guess one of the first questions that we have is from Mark. Real quick, where can we start and or end our trip if we want to do the Grand Canyon Discovery? So again, just a reminder, everybody, as Colleen and I mentioned, you can start and or end your trip at any of the local Amtrak stations. Again, there's over 500, or again, you can fly round trip if you choose. So just a little reminder, just so everyone has that as well, okay? Next question from Janet. Looks like we have a few questions from Janet, which is great. So we'll answer three-part questions. So is the Grand Canyon Railway wheelchair accessible? Is the bus tour wheelchair accessible? And are lodge accommodations handicap accessible? Great questions, Janet. So I'm going to turn it back over to Colleen, who can answer all of these for you.
Hey, thank you so much, Jeanette, for listening and for some great questions. I know this is a topic which is important to a lot of our listeners, is handicapped accessibility. They're at the Grand Canyon and on board Amtrak. So I'm very happy to say that both Amtrak and the Grand Canyon Railway and the lodges do all offer handicapped accessible accommodations for you. So again, there's a handicapped accessible cabin on Amtrak. The lodges and the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel both do have handicapped accessible rooms. And then we can certainly arrange something for you touring-wise that would accommodate you folks. And I do encourage you to give us a call here or call your travel agent, and we can discuss, your specific needs and what we can do for you. But definitely the answer is yes on that.
Okay, great, Colleen. Next question from David. Is there Wi-Fi access on trains? So I'm going to turn this back over to Colleen, and we'll answer that. Great question, David.
Thank you so much, David. So the answer is sometimes. Depends on which train route you folks are traveling on. So it is one of Amtrak's initiatives, to eventually have Wi-Fi on board all of their trains, but it would depend on the specific route. So here on the Southwest Chief, you'll certainly be able to access Wi-Fi during some parts of your trip there, especially from Chicago or LA, but it's not necessarily going to be guaranteed for the whole trip. But it is something that they're working on. It is something that they do have on a lot of their trains currently.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. Now, the next question is actually pretty exciting. This is from Jermaine, who happens to be joining us today, everybody, from South Africa. Thank you so much, Jermaine. This is exciting. That's why I always love saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening because, again, our travelers come from all over the world, 31 million. So her question is, can you please provide a phone number that I can use to call to plan any exciting trip to the Grand Canyon that is not an 800 number? So obviously you can see on the screen here, for those of us located in the United States or Canada, that would be the 800 number that you would call, 1-800-268-7252, or again, certainly you can contact your local travel agent outside of the United States. That number would be area code 978-922-0418. Again, that's 978-922-0418. So I hope that helps, Jermaine. And thank you so much for attending in beautiful South Africa. Okay. So again, we got a lot of questions. And by the way, as Colleen and I are going through these questions, please feel free to add any additional questions. We got, again, about another 15 minutes, so we have time, and it's something we wanted to be able to offer to everyone, that extra time, a little Q&A. Next question from Beverly. Can you only access the Grand Canyon from Chicago on Amtrak? I think I can answer this one on behalf of Colleen. Great question, Beverly. So the answer is no. Obviously, you can access the Grand Canyon, whether those of you are coming in from the East Coast, the Midwest, Chicago, or, as Colleen mentioned, even from the West Coast, such as our rails to the Grand Canyon package, which starts and ends in Los Angeles. So to answer your question, Beverly, either coast you can access the Grand Canyon. Okay. Next question from Kimberly. What is the average temperature at the Grand Canyon in February or March? That would be great to know, especially during school breaks. So I will turn this over to Colleen as well, who can help answer that.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. That's an excellent question. So as Jim mentioned, the Grand Canyon is a year-round national park. It does not close in the wintertime. It's available to everybody all year round, which is, one of its great features. I was just there in November, and it was a little bit chilly, but it wasn't bad. Of course, the elevation, can be a tad chilly. You can see, I think, on my picture, I've got a scarf on, but light jacket, not too bad at all. So similar weather then in February and March. It'll be a little chilly, but it won't be too bad. Never really gets terrible there at the canyon. Does occasionally snow just a little bit. There was a few flurries when I was there in November, but not too bad, especially as you get on towards spring break time in March.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. And great question, Kimberly. And I'll tell you, I will mention to everyone as well, and I speak firsthand of this, I'm married with 3 children. This is a great family destination. I'm glad you mentioned that, Kimberly, as far as school break, certainly the summertime, great, and certainly very popular. I'll tell you what, we've noticed a big trend in the Grand Canyon in particular is a lot of multi-generational families traveling with us. So, the parents, the grandparents, the grandchildren traveling all together. And again, we here at Amtrak Vacations can help you make those arrangements, or certainly a local travel agent as well. So thank you, Kimberly. Next question from Ivy. Would you pick me up from the hotel to the Amtrak station and then the station back to the hotel? So I'll turn this over to Colleen, who can help answer that for you.
That's another great question, Ivy. So it depends on the package and exactly what trip you folks are looking at. But as far as the Grand Canyon portion of it goes, we do pick you up at the station there in Williams Junction and bring you over to the hotel. And then your Grand Canyon Railway, the steam engine train there, that does leave right from your hotel as well. So again, it does depend on the package and the destinations that you're going to visit. I can tell you, going to Santa Fe, again, they'll bring you to the hotel. but may not be included in every single package. But we try for you, definitely. And when it's not included, I can tell you, for example, Chicago, all of our hotels that we offer there are very centrally located. We're talking less than a mile from the train station itself. So.
Thank you, Colleen. Next question from Mandy. And for those of you that are joining us who are our wonderful, sincerely valued travel agents and travel partners, these discounts are available for customers and clients. Yes, absolutely, Mandy. So please keep that in mind. Again, for those of you who want to take advantage of the great savings, as I mentioned, we are going to offer an additional $100 off per couple on some of our select independent rail vacations, such as the Grand Canyon Discovery, which Colleen mentioned, starting in Chicago, heading out to Santa Fe and the Grand Canyon. So anyway, great question. Okay, let's see here. Okay, next question from Liz. How does the incentive with the promo code define per couple for 2 adults? So great question, Liz. So again, per couple, so right now we're offering $200 off per couple if any of you book before the end of February, which is otherwise $100 off per person. Okay, so $200 off per couple is otherwise $100 per person. However, if any of you book any of our select independent journeys before the end of this month, we're going to add an extra $100 per couple, which will be a total of $300 off per couple, which is otherwise $150 off per person. So hopefully that makes sense. So great question. Thank you very much, Liz. Okay, let's see. Solo traveler. We have a great question from Regina. If the discount is offered, extra $200, then half of that is offered to a solo traveler. Is that correct regarding single or solo travel? So I'll turn that over to Colleen, who can better explain that.
Sure. Thank you so much for doing that. We do have a lot of folks who travel solo, going out to the Grand Canyon and across the country. So what you asked is correct. So as Jim said, if our discount right now, our promo special for just you guys, is going to be $300 per couple, then it would be $150 for you as a solo traveler. And we could certainly set up, your accommodations and tours and everything as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Colleen. Next question from Deb. Can you just give me a quick review on the 10-day Grand Canyon Discovery Tour? So I'll just turn it to Colleen and just give you a quick overview on start to finish.
Perfect. So Deb, I'm glad you asked this. This is my favorite tour and one of our most popular tours. This tour, the Grand Canyon Discovery Package, as Jim mentioned, is available for our promo this week. And this trip does start in Chicago. So it starts you guys out with 2 nights in Chicago. You get some great sightseeing options included for you there in Chicago. And then we have you take the overnight train from Chicago out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And as I said, that's an amazing experience to be able to do that overnight ride on Amtrak, to see that entire beautiful scenery on the Southwest Chief Route. Now, when you folks get into Santa Fe, trip does include 2 nights there, as well as some great sightseeing. And then you would take the Amtrak again from Santa Fe over to Williams, Arizona. And you do have 1 night in Williams. Then you folks would take that Grand Canyon Railway steam engine train up to the South Rim itself. And we include 1 night for you there at the South Rim in one of our lodges, like Maswik. Then you folks will take a shuttle, actually, from Maswik Lodge right down to Flagstaff. And the trip includes 2 nights in Flagstaff. And it also includes the day with that Red Rocks Jeep tour, which is so fantastic. Then the tour will end there in Flagstaff, and we could get you the rail back home. You could book a flight back home, or we could take you onwards to California or wherever you.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. Next question, 2-part question from Devana. I am looking for a 4-day package leaving from Chicago. Do you have a reasonable package to accommodate, and will we be able to explore on our own? I can actually answer this, Colleen. Absolutely, yes, yes, and yes, Devana. As Colleen mentioned, and I'll tell you, everyone, it's the beauty of traveling truly with Amtrak Vacations is we have so many great packages that are already created and put together for everyone. However, you also have the flexibility to customize any package to make them as long or as short, or to start and or end wherever you would like. I will tell you a little fun, interesting point about that. All of our packages that we've created, and certainly, again, you can view those online at www.amtrakvacations.com. These packages were basically created from all of the feedback from all of our travelers like yourself. So chances are, I always like to mention in all my presentations, whatever you're thinking of, in particular, in this case, to the Grand Canyon, chances are we probably already have a package that will suit you. However, you do have that flexibility to customize any of them as well. So anyway, great question, Devon. Hope that helped. Okay, next question from Martha. Can you please repeat the everyday discount? So yes, absolutely, great question. We'll go right back on the presentation real quick just to repeat those everyday discounts. Okay, so this question is from Martha. So certainly feel free to write down whichever one applies to you. And if you have more than one that applies, typically we will choose the one that's the wealthiest discount, just so you know. So anyway, great question, Martha, as well. So next question from Indira. Can I start and end at the same point since I am flying in from Trinidad? I will turn that over to Colleen.
Yeah, that's exciting. Nice and warm there, I think. So you can certainly start and end in the same point. You could do a trip that's designed that way, like the Rails to the Grand Canyon, which starts in Los Angeles, takes you out to the Grand Canyon, and then returns you to Los Angeles. Or depending on where you're flying into, we can arrange it that way for you. So we could get you the rail, out to Chicago to start out, take the train out to the Grand Canyon, and then you could actually take the rail right back to Chicago at the end, if you were going to fly in and out of Chicago. Or whatever point you were flying into, we could arrange, rail for you from there to the Grand Canyon and back.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. And it looks like we have a couple more questions. And again, if anyone has any additional questions, we still have about a good 5 minutes left. Another question we have is from Robin. Can special diets or special medication needs be accommodated, such as diabetic diets or insulin storage? So let me turn that back over to Colleen, and we'll help you answer that.
Fantastic question. So Amtrak does have some special diet menus. They have menus for vegetarians and for folks who are kosher. And then any other requirements, they just encourage you to speak with your server on board the train. So the servers are very knowledgeable about what's included with the food, and they could point you in the right direction as far as something, that will be low in sugar or high in sugar or low in sodium or whatever you're looking for there. And similarly for storage for insulin, Amtrak doesn't have storage facilities available, but what they encourage you to do is to bring a cooler, and they'll constantly provide you with fresh ice for the cooler there, so you can keep that cool when you're.
Great. Thank you very much, Colleen. Okay, so moving along, again, great questions. Next question from Bonnie. What is the single supplement when traveling alone? And I think I could answer this. Obviously, it will vary depending on where and when you're looking to travel. Of course, traveling as a single, there is an additional charge related to that. But again, it fluctuates depending on where and when you're looking to travel. So certainly, again, any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agent can give you those updates and answers. Okay. Next question from LLEs. Do you arrange air travel? Great question. We actually do not arrange air travel here at Amtrak Vacations. But again, as I've mentioned throughout, that's where your local travel agent is certainly such a wealth of knowledge and certainly a support for you to help you with any of those air accommodations as well as with any other packages. So you have that option. Okay, next question from Fred. Do any of the Grand Canyon tours include the mule ride into the Grand Canyon? Is that possible? So let me turn this over to Colleen and see if that is an opportunity.
Hey, Fred, thank you. We do not ourselves include the mule ride, but a lot of our packages do include, maybe 2 nights at the Grand Canyon up at the lodges itself. So that's certainly something that you or your travel agent could arrange for you during your stay. We would be able to arrange a length of stay that would give you enough time to take part in that experience there.
Great. Next question from Karen. Great question, Karen. If you are going to book a longer trip, how much luggage is allowed?
Perfect. So that will depend a little bit on where you start out, and where you end up. But typically on board Amtrak, you folks are allowed 2 carry-on bags and also 2 checked bags and also 2 personal items. So for the Grand Canyon, going through Williams, they don't really have the checked baggage service in Williams, but you folks could still bring on 2 carry-on bags per person. This is 2 carry-on bags per person and 2 personal items like a purse or a laptop case or a backpack or a little mini cooler per person. So the baggage allowance is allowance is actually very generous for Amtrak.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. Next question from Stephen. Is there a train that runs the southern USA from the Grand Canyon all the way to New Orleans into North Carolina?
Great question, Stephen. Amtrak does hit all of those locations, but they're not necessarily all on the same route. But we could certainly set it up for you. So you could go Grand Canyon to California, and then California on the beautiful southern route to New Orleans, and then on to North Carolina. Or you could go a different way. There's quite a few different routes available to you that we could set up for you.
Thank you, Colleen. Next question from Mary. How much are deposits and when are they due if we are looking to travel in June of this year to the Grand Canyon?
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. So deposit, again, it's going to vary a little bit depending on which trip that you folks choose, but it ranges anywhere, from 100 to 250 per person. And deposits are due at the time of booking. And again, I do encourage you guys to reach out and let us know if you folks are interested in the Grand Canyon, especially for this summer, because we do see, even though it's only January, it is already booking up. As you can see in those national park lodges, space can be pretty limited. So definitely let us know there. And again, it's just a very small deposit and get that space secured for you.
Great. And next question from Donald. Do you accept all major credit cards?
Perfect. So Donald, we accept most major credit cards. We accept Discover, MasterCard, and Visa.
Great. Okay, everybody. Well, it looks like we have a couple more minutes. That is a majority of the questions here that we have available to answer. So what I will mention to everybody is if your question did not get answered today, we will get back to you before the end of the day. But more importantly, thank you sincerely on behalf of Colleen and I and on behalf of Amtrak Vacations for taking the time to attend today's presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody, as much as I loved listening to it myself. Colleen is definitely a wealth of knowledge, and certainly having been to the Grand Canyon, and I hope you could feel the excitement from her. And again, if you're interested, our vacation consultants are here waiting to help each and every one of you, as well as your local travel agent. So give us a call, everybody. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. We look forward to seeing you, your friends, and family on board soon with Amtrak Vacations. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.